sucks the heat out of the house, and the other side pounds the cold in.
Hey, this is our November 2014 fall class. George working on his staves right now. That's his pile here. As I come across, we have Janelle. She's from that state up north called Michigan. She's working hard on hers. John's in the background over there making staves. This is the beginning day. They've just gotten started, been working at it about a half hour to an hour. Working on the staves, making adjustments. And Paul's here. Paul's just staying busy, sawing some logs. And then this is the young girl of the class, Rhonda. She wants to prove that she can do them better than her mother, which, hey, more power to her. Okay, I need to shut this off so I can help John. And we got George over here right now. He's using the Cooperage joiner. He's checking his angles right now. He's doing the bevel and the angle all in one. It's a compound miter cut, which a lot of people can't believe, but this is all done by hand and by eye. He's just checking to make sure it's nice and smooth. And then he holds it down, readjusts it, and he went against the grain. Looks like it chipped it.
He's sore on camera.
Yeah, I might have to bleep that out.
Bleep that out. No daylight.
Very good. Looking good, George. Just so you know, Janelle's still working. She hasn't quit on me. And she's got shavings down there, but we're pretty sure that John's kicking his over to her.
Well, she should kick them back.
John wants to make sure that they get counted.
There you go.
And then Rhonda's sitting over here. She's just drawing right now.
She's stalling.
You're jealous.
Competitive in nature. Competitive. I guess that they're from Michigan, so I'll leave it at that. Okay, we're back up from lunch. George is sawing, squaring off the top of his little bucket. He's making a butter carrier today. And Janelle, she's working up a good sweat. She's about got her staves done. John out here working hard with the curved draw knife, doing the process called hollowing. And then right here we got Rhonda. She's working on a pile. There's her pile of staves. And then she's got 4 more over there, so she's about ready to go. And then I'll keep zooming. And there's my able-bodied assistant, Paul, keeping things running here in the shop today. I think they're having some fun. This is proof to George's wife that he's actually working hard. Hey, Rhonda's starting to use the joiner, the Cooperage joiner, putting the edge on it. Paul's supervising a little bit there behind her. She's checking with the gauge, see how close she is. And as I scroll over here, George is using a spoke shave. He's trying to put a little smoother edge on the outside of his staves, getting them all nice and flush.
Making it pretty.
Making it pretty for his wife. Now I'm going to come over here a little ways, but I'll keep it on her because Janelle's actually going to do this stave all by herself. At least that's what she's trying to do.
This is a pop quiz, you know.
What are you doing, Janelle? Oh, now you're checking it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I think it might be better than yours.
All right. There you go. There's well, John's being really quiet over here. He walks out of the shop. I didn't know where he went, and that makes me worry. And then he sneaks back in, and he's back to work. So It's those quiet guys that you gotta watch out for.
Went out for a smoke.
Oh, I love a day when we got a full class and we have a bunch of people working.
Party classes are always full.
Huh?
Classes are always
Janelle finally has hers in rings now. It's starting to look more like a bucket. John is almost done with his stays, and we'll help him here get angles on them. I think, John, you're getting tired now, aren't you, John?
You're doing better for me than
And over here we got George. He's using the crows now, putting the groove in the bottom. Having fun. And I'll just peek over the shoulder. Rhonda's using the scorp to clean out the inside of her bucket. So they're all starting to take shape. And it's going to be an exciting finish tomorrow. Day 2 of the fall class of 2014 has started. George is back in his Mr. Green Jeans overalls. And what he's doing is he's marking off this circle for his butter carrier. That's going to be his lid. And we haven't talked about the handle yet either. We got to do that. And then as I come over here, Janelle is all fresh, ready to go. Spent some time in the old hot tub last night, so she's relaxed. And right now she's working. Let me zoom down here. She's working on her bottom for her bucket. And right there on the bench is her bucket. The great thing about this morning, we walk in and everybody has their buckets ready to go, except for the bottoms. This is Rhonda over here. Did you really spell your name without the H?
yes.
Okay.
He's named after a guy.
Okay. Who is Ron or?
Ronald.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And they're all working on the bottoms. And right here, the first bucket here we see, that's Rhonda's. And then back there is John's bucket. So we've all, and he just starting on his bottom. Say good morning, John.
Good morning, sir.
And yes, folks,
Still do it, like,
let me go to the window and I can show you what we woke up to this morning. Yes, that's snow on the roof. So a great day.
Homerine?
wow.
Is that weird or what?
People still do that.
So, oh, and there's Paul in with us again today. He made it back in. So.
Follow that line? Yeah.
Okay, one of the things that we always discuss when we do a class, I have a lot of questions on how to do this banding. I use a willow reed. I get it from the basket shop. And what I do is I wrap it around my bucket and I try to have 3 or 4 inches of overlap. But I measure it about 1 inch up from where I want the band to be. And then I draw my pencil lines across. And that's where I'm going to make my first cut. And if you want, Rhonda, come up and zoom on the cut. And this is the cut, and I use a razor blade. I always shave it down a little bit to make it a little bit thinner, because this is a lap joint. And just keep thinning it all the way back to my pencil line. There's my pencil. Then I take my knife and I come back towards me and I cut through about halfway down. Then I just simply, slowly, carefully back cut. And as you can see, and then I'll just shave a little bit here off. That's so to lap. And that's the first joint of the 2, and it'll end up overlapping like this, but I want to make sure that it's going to fit, so I double check my lines. And as I can see, again, I would have been a little bit too big. So I come back, and as I was explaining to the class, it's always better to be short than long. But you shave off, make it a little thinner. All the way to the pencil line. That first pencil line was my first rough one. And then I come in here, wiggle it back and forth with my knife, and back cut. Nice and slow. What tool are you looking for?
My drill I just had in my hand.
Jill,
There it is, I threw it back in there, and it's camouflaged itself.
And there, as you can see. By the way, the class is still going on, so that's why people are asking questions.
Just
And
last
there is
year,
my lap joint,
thing was
and it'll
frozen.
hook just like that. And then I drop it over the bucket. Now I gotta get it past that metal ring, so I'll come right up and over.
Drill doesn't want
And
to.
hopefully my fingers will get out of the way enough for me to loop it. There I go. And I want this one to be about a finger width.
3-strand
Right.
real, okay, I use 3-strand real manila rope. You can find it at your Lowe's. Sometimes I get mine at Ace Hardware store in my little local town. But you use real rope in this setting, and so I use it in here. Each one of these strands, I number them. The center one is number 1, the one on the left is number 2, then the one all the way to the right is number 3. And it's imperative you keep them in order. So what I'll do is number 1, I've already fed it through. I made a hole, and I have it through there. Now I'm going to take number 2. I'll spread this apart so you can see it a little better. It's going to go over 1 and under the very next one. Just that simple. Then you kind of roll it over. This one is a little harder, but you only have 1 available. So you simply go over and then under. The back side is the easier one. And you kind of tug on them, keep them a little snug. And there you have your very first splice done. Now we're ready for number 2, and you go back to number 1. You simply go over and under. Number 2, same thing. You only have 1 you can go over, and you go through right there. Number 3, you go over 1 and under the very next one. Now, what I like to do is kind of like a praying mantis. I do that, and what that does is it snugs up your knots. And I go through 3 times, and I'm ready to go through the final one. I just spread it apart and push 1 through. I come over here to number 2, push that through, and keep them snug. And then number 3, the same thing, under and over it and under it. And there you have the one I-splice for the handle. And I simply repeat the process. You can measure. What I always do is I'll stick this in here, and I know this one's already going to work because I already measured it earlier. But if you look, here's my marks. I want the rope to fall down about midway below the top bands. And that's where it's going to end up. And when it'll be done, you'll have a bucket completely I-spliced, and the rope handle will be good to go. I just trim the excess off, and then of course then I take my tape off. And that's how we rope a bucket at Sauder Village in the Black Swamp Cooperage.